Hey guys, so summon Phantasms, we have some weird interactions with our skills, and in this case I want to talk about Mirror Arrow and the Phantasms interaction. And this build started as a Blink Arrow Mirror Arrow build, but with the Phantasms added to them. The Phantasms inherit the skill that procs it some modifiers. So for example, if you look at the Blink Arrow, the fair line, minions deal 162% increased damage. This part and the last line, minions deal 75% more damage. That gets transferred to the Phantasms. So the Phantasms are inheriting a lot of more multiplier. But a weird thing with the Mirror Arrow is the minions deal 162% increased damage. This is by the way level 18 gem. This 162% increased minion damage is not the same as all the other increase to minion damage. This appears to scale the base damage, and then all the base damage gets scaled by all the other increase to minion damage, then the more multipliers. Imagine it like scaling base weapon damage. Like imagine equipping a weapon with higher base damage, which then gets scaled by all the other multipliers. So levels for the Mirror Arrow matter a lot in terms of increasing the damage for summon Phantasm. And this is really cool because Bronn's Lithe but armor gives +5 to socketed movement gems, and Mirror Arrow is movement gem. Mirror Arrow immediately gets +5 levels, and this is corrupted for +2 to socketed minion gems, so it's getting +7 levels to Mirror Arrow. Now those 7 levels more than double the damage of the summon Phantasm, and this is like can get confusing, but I was trying to discover how exactly it works. Initially I thought that it transfers the movement tag to the Phantasm, but we are not actually getting +7 levels. We are only getting +2 levels from the body armor corruption. Not only that, but +1 to all skill gems does not affect Phantasms because they are support gems. So the summon Phantasm level doesn't really matter. You only want level 21 gem. You can get level 19 gem and then +2 from the body armor just to get level 21 to get an extra maximum Phantasm. It appears that, at least in PUB, that summon Phantasm life and the damage is completely dependent on the gem that procs it. In this case, I'm using level 18 Mirror Arrow. They are missing damage because it's level 18 and not level 20, for example. And going from level 18 to level 20 essentially gives, in this case, 1 million DPS with 11 Phantasms combined. So just by adding 2 more levels to the Mirror Arrow, I would gain 1 million DPS. I quit the build because there are some problems with the build that it's just so frustrating, and I am not entirely sure how to fix it. One of the problems is the tankiness. I cannot fix the tankiness by getting a carried block on this, but the other problem is that the Mirror Arrow itself doesn't really do much damage. The Mirror Arrow has, like, in this setup, this is by the way level 83, and I'm quitting it, but in PUB I will link it in the description. This is like at level 90 what I would like it to look like. And this is with level 18 Mirror Arrow. With level 20 it would have almost 500k DPS per Phantasm, and I have 11 of them, so over 5 million DPS already. Like, this is pretty budget gears. Now remember this, almost 500,000 DPS from the Phantasm per Phantasm. Now the clone damage, look at this, only 72k DPS. So here's the problem, you can summon Phantasms on hit against rare and unique enemies, but what do you do when there are no rares or unique enemies, but there are a bunch of magic, very tanky monsters like excavation monsters with like block, extra energy shield, stuff like that? You just don't summon anything, and that's the biggest problem. And you may think that, oh, just get a better bow. Well, I did copy the bow, like the highest bow I could find, DPS bow on the market, 1.6k DPS bow. You know how much that gives? Like 30k. That's it. Obviously this is pure physical build and this is elemental bow, so we would want to swap the aura, but that doesn't really give me like any crazy amount of damage. It still wouldn't be enough because the Mirror Arrow itself doesn't really get much damage from the levels. So Bronn's Lithe doesn't really give all that much damage, and actually Replica Stampede would give more damage because it gives socketed travel skills deal 80% more damage, and this also transfers over to the Phantasm if you use it. Like I said, originally I was trying to use Blink Arrow and Mirror Arrow, but another problem is how you summon the Phantasm. If you keep reprocking it and keep resummoning it, we do get a resummon. So imagine we start attacking, start casting spell, and then we get resummon, and we have to retarget the enemy or run close to enemy, so you don't want to reproc it too often. Another problem is the summon phantasms have melee default attack for some reason. They have spell, projectile, physical, minions. But for some reason, we run next to enemies and try to hit them. Another problem is that when they get triggered, when they get summoned, it summons directly onto the enemy. So if you're fighting, let's say Kitava, it summons directly onto the Kitava where you cannot even move. You cannot even reach that spot physically. And they just start attacking with melee. The damage is very random sometimes. Sometimes it does good damage, sometimes it doesn't. And like I said, defenses are also a problem because I don't have a lot of HP. This is level 83, I can get more HP. And I would be getting more HP. This is by the way Scion, Necromancer, Deadeye. I can also use the Forbidden Jewels to spec into Guardian. That would cost like 2 Divines, which would give me regen, a bit more tankiness, and reduce curse effect. Onslaught can also help minions as well, but nothing too particularly good. The reason why this is Necro and Deadeye, I am using these boots, which means things that increase my movement speed, Quicksilver would not increase my movement speed with these boots, because my movement speed is always fixed to 150 of its base. However, I can still increase my movement speed with the action speed. So Deadeye action speed gives Tailwind, which is action speed. You can also get action speed from speed shrines. And also there's a Harbinger belt, which can also give you speed. Otherwise, this is the speed that you would have all the time, unless you pick up the speed shrine. And this speed is actually kind of slow. So Deadeye does help a bit. It also gives you increased effect of your mark skills, and the Sniper's Mark gives a lot of damage. And the Necromancer obviously good for minions, minion damage, minion attack speed, and you get Offering. Initially I was using Flesh Offering, but I was just so squishy and dying all the time. I had to drop some damage, had to get a Rearguard, had to pick up the Glancing Blows and Bone Offering. And Bone Offering is triggered automatically when I'm casting these in the bow. The bow was actually pretty cheap. It does not need to be 6-linked. I just bought a Fractured with physical damage, and then I essence spammed it until I got open suffix with some other decent things. It's not entirely great, but this is the best I could get. This bow is only 327 DPS, but that doesn't matter because like I said, even if you got over 1000 DPS bow, your damage with the mirror arrow is still pretty bad. Although I am using Control Destruction, because Control Destruction just gives so much damage to the Phantasms. Like, you could try using something else, but it's not gonna go from like 70k damage to like 300k with a single gem. There are a lot of things that can still be improved for this build, so again, the problem was my tankiness, then the problem was Mirror Arrow doesn't do enough damage to get the kills against stuff like excavation monsters, so I cannot get the Phantasms, and if no Phantasms, I can't really kill anything. Then the Phantasms have like dumb mechanics where we just get summoned on top of enemies and they just start meleeing. Sometimes we just are at a distance, I convocate them, and we just run next to enemies. Like, why? And if we get resummoned, just waste a lot of time. So yeah, if you can figure out how to solve those, or maybe you can think of some other cool ways, some other skills that would transfer some interesting things to the Phantasm, let me know in the comments below, because I feel bad about quitting the build, but also, if you saw my stream, I was in pain. I was constantly in pain. It was horrible. And I'm gonna add some clips with that pain for you to feel that pain as well. Overall, that's pretty cool use of Bronn's Live body armor. I was also thinking about getting the spell suppression, but then I would have to replace these boots. I would have to replace the gloves. Attack speed is also useful because you attack faster, so you don't spend as much time like in the animation. And ideally I would also have to replace the helmet, but +2 minion helmet with life and spell suppression is going to be like expensive, and I have like 2 divines left for my budget, not even 2 divines. So I don't have the budget to improve this build, but it can definitely be improved. The skill also costs a lot of mana, so I went with the Eldritch Battery and I picked up Corrupted Soul. I traveled here just because I needed the Bow Master to get CDR for Blink and Mirror Arrow. 100% cooldown recovery rate is kind of big, but it's not that big. If you get Helmet Enchantment with the Mirror Arrow cooldown recovery rate and then use these boots, it would be fine, I think. So you don't necessarily need to go here, but you still probably would want Corrupted Soul, unless you can get a lot of energy shield through other means. Then you don't need to travel here and you could save quite a lot of points. I still have not anointed the boots because why anoint it if the build is failing? If I anoint the minion damage, which probably would be the best, this one, and then let's say this one to get more attack speed for myself, the Phantasms would get more damage, but it wouldn't really help the mirror arrow enough, I think. They would still not do enough damage. Like I said, 70k DPS per mirror arrow is nothing. And that's with Pierce. Without the Pierce it's like 40k DPS. That's not really enough to kill some tanky excavation monsters, right? So I don't know how to solve that. If you know that, let me know in the comments below, because maybe I'll continue this build, but I doubt, because I don't really have a big budget to fix the build. And after playing this build, I think I'm gonna be playing Jug. I just don't want to be dying anymore. I heard that Jug can tank even Maven's memory game, so I want to kind of try that, but we'll see. So for now, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.